What's going on, all? It's HK, and we're about 17 days from FS25 releasing. And let me tell you, I'm so looking forward to the new game coming out and playing on a new series and playing the game. But Giant Software has done a great job with FS25 on giving us information, and they've given us a lot. And from what I understand, there's still a lot to come, and we're 2 weeks from the game, and it's still giving out information. So, in case you've missed it, I want to go back and review some of the stuff that we've already heard and have been confirmed are in the game. And this first video for this series is going to be the new field crops. So let's go ahead and take a look at the new field crops and what's coming to Farming Simulator 25. So we're only looking at what crops you need to use a seeder or a planter to put into the ground. So these are going to be your new field crops. For FS25, there have been 5 new crops added to the game. What are the new field crops? Well, let's find out. The new field crops are first spinach, regular rice, long grain rice, peas, and green beans. Let's dive into each one of these individually and check out the stats for them and what we need to know about these 5 new crop types. First up is spinach. Now, we've learned a couple of things since we've got the fact sheets on spinach that we should address first. So first thing, spinach is not a crop that you can store. So once it's ready to harvest, you're going to have to sell it. It's not going to be something that we can store in a silo or anything like that. It's a fresh crop that has to go out the door as soon as you're done with it. So looking at the stats of spinach, it's going to yield on an average hectare of 23,100 liters. You will need a specialized harvester to harvest spinach, and that is the Expo MKB4TR. Let's go ahead and jump in and take a look at that spinach harvester. Its base game price is about $635,000. It has 400 horsepower with a variable transmission. It's going to have a fuel capacity tank of 950 liters, and it'll go 25 kilometers per hour or 15 miles per hour when on the road. Now, it'll have a 35,000 liter tank, weighs 26.7 tons. It goes 10 kilometers per hour or 6 miles per hour when harvesting. It's nice to see Oxbow make an appearance back in the base game. Looking back at the stats, it's going to sell about an average selling price of $660 per 1,000 liters. And you're going to be looking at 10 liters of seed used per hectare, using a regular seeder to plant spinach. Its growth duration is 3 months. You need to jump right in the field in March and April to get that in the ground and plant it as soon as you can. And if you do, you get to reap the benefits of planting once, sowing twice. It'll be ready to harvest 3 months later in June or July, and in September and October. And then looking under the stats, you get to see the different growth stages of the crop. Make sure you don't hit that last one, which is withered. Nobody wants withered crops. Let's go to move on to the next one, which is rice. The first thing we need to know about rice is there's some prep work that we got to do first. We'll have to jump into build mode and actually make a rice field that's known as a rice paddy. And this is done so it can hold the different water levels that's required for rice. Now, the first one that we're looking at is just regular rice. And looking at the stats, you're going to get a max yield of 13,200 liters per hectare. Now, you do need a specialized harvester for this, and that's called the Iseki HJ6130. Now, this comes at a base game price of $95,000. It has 130 horsepower with a variable transmission. It has a 105 liter fuel tank capacity, and it'll go 12 kilometers per hour or 8 miles per hour when harvesting. It does have a 2,000 liter tank capacity on that for the stored crop, and it weighs 5.6 tons, and it goes 8 kilometers per hour when harvesting. Regular rice has an average selling price of $3,300 per 1,000 liters on easy difficulty. You can expect to use about 156 liters per hectare of seed when seeding rice. Now, with that, you do need a specialized rice planter, and that's the Iseki PRJ8D. Now, this rice planter is going to cost you about $25,000. It has 25 horsepower and has a 28-liter fuel tank. It'll go 20 kilometers per hour or 13 miles per hour, and it weighs 958 kilograms. It's got a variable transmission, and it's got a 274-liter tank capacity for your seed. It'll go 8 kilometers per hour or 5 miles per hour when planting rice saplings. Something to note, as you saw in the last screenshot, the field was flooded, so the field does need to be filled with water before you can use the Iseki PRJ8D rice planter. While we're on the subject of the rice saplings, you can either buy the rice saplings from the store, or you can, for the first time in the game, plant and create your own rice saplings in a greenhouse setting. That's pretty cool if you ask me. Looking back at the stat sheet, it does have a 4-month growth duration. So it's planted in April or May, and then it's harvested in August to September. Now below you do see the growth stages as well. Make sure you don't hit that last one, again, because it's going to be withered, and then you'll have to start all over again. Now let's talk about long grain rice. Long grain rice is the type of rice that's more popular in, like, say, the United States. Now, for this one, you still have to do the field prep work of going in and building the rice paddy. However, you do not flood the field when you go to plant. Okay, so you're going to look at a max yield per hectare of 18,000 liters. You'll use a regular grain harvester and header to harvest the long grain rice. It does have an average selling price of about $1,589 per 1,000 liters on an easy difficulty. You can expect to use about 500 liters of seed per hectare. You'll use a regular seeder. You do not need to use the specialized seeder for it. Once seeded, that's when you would flood your field. It does have a growth duration of 5 months, so you'll plant it in April, and then it'll be available for you to harvest in September. Again, looking down, you can see the growth stages of the different states that the crop will be in. Again, you don't want to hit that last one because then it's going to be withered and you'll have to start all over once again. Also, one thing to note on your rice fields, whether it's regular rice or long grain rice, they do say to make sure you check your water levels daily because it will impact what your yield will be. So if you don't check it continuously and it doesn't have enough water, you could lose some crops. Now let's look at the next one, which is peas. When talking about peas, you will get a max yield of 9,600 liters per hectare when harvesting peas. Now, you do need a specialized harvester for peas, which is the EPD 540E pea harvester. It comes in at a base game price of $571,000. It has 396 horsepower and it has a variable transmission. It will have a 950-liter fuel tank capacity. It will go 25 kilometers per hour or 15 miles per hour when on the road. It does have a 3,700-liter tank capacity for those peas. It weighs 23.3 tons, and it has a work width of 3.8 meters. It also will go 10 kilometers per hour or 6 miles per hour when harvesting peas. Looking back at the stat sheet, you can see that on average, your selling price is going to be about $3,119 per 1,000 liters on easy difficulty. Also, you're going to expect to use about 250 liters of seed per hectare using a regular seeder. It does have a growth duration of 4 months, so you'll plant it in March and April, and then it'll be ready to harvest in July and September. Underneath that, you do see the different growth states of the crop itself. Again, we really don't want to hit that last one because we know what that is. It's withered, and that's going to be a lot of work to replace it. Moving on to the last new crop, which is green beans. Now for green beans, you can expect a max yield per hectare of 13,950 liters. You do need a specialized harvester for the green beans as well. That is the Oxbow BP 2140E green bean harvester. It's going to come in at a base game price of $498,500. It has 315 horsepower with a variable transmission. It does have a fuel capacity of 850 liters. It will go 25 kilometers per hour or 15 miles per hour when on the road. And it has a 15,000 liter tank capacity. It does weigh 19.5 tons. It has a work width of 3.3 meters, and it'll go 10 kilometers per hour or 6 miles per hour when harvesting green beans. Looking back at the fact sheet, you can see that the average selling price on easy difficulty is going to be about $2,160 per 1,000 liters. Also, you can expect to use 280 liters of seed per hectare. Now, on the seeds, Giant hasn't released yet on whether it's going to be a seeder or a planter that actually plants green beans or seeds green beans. I'm assuming it's going to be a planter because all the seeders and direct seeders that they have released for us has not had green beans on it. We'll have to wait and see when the game comes out, or possibly over the next week or two when they do a Fact Sheet Friday, if they have something that includes what plants or seeds green beans. Regardless, green beans have a growth duration of 4 months. You will plant them in April to June, and they'll be ready to harvest in August to November. Now, underneath the stats, you can see the growth states of what they are, and again, you don't want to hit that last one, which is withered. If you do, you're going to lose out on all the money that you could have gotten from harvesting the crop, and you will have to start all over again, and nobody wants that. And that's the 5 new crops that are going to be in FS25 that are field crops. Which one are you looking forward to the most to get in and plant or seed? Is it spinach, rice, long grain rice, peas, or green beans? Comment down below on which one you're looking forward to working with first. As a reminder, you can pre-order the game. The game is set to release on November 12th. It's going to be for PC, Mac, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series X and S. If you do pre-order, you get the pre-order bonus, which is the MacDon pack, which gives you the M1240 windrow and 4 attachments for that. So it allows you to swath on day 1. There are a couple of different additions that you can get as well, including the Year 1 bundle, which gives you the first 3 DLCs, and the expansion map, which is set to release in a year's time. It is supposed to be a UK-based map. Also, there's the PC Collector's Edition for all you PC players out there that gets you a bunch of different goodies, including that USB ignition switch that allows you to start your machinery with an actual key. Thanks for watching, and if you found this video to be informative and you would like to stay up to date with the most up-to-date information for FS25, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace!